Hi, salam alaikum, sisters and brothers. Sulaiman Rahim here, Messenger of the Covenant, breaker of the seven seals. Brothers and sisters, it's a special presentation, very special. Timeline to destruction. You're not going to get this anywhere else because no one else knows it. But I always have to make sure you understand. Only person who knows the exact time and date is Master Prophet Muhammad, because he's the one that initiates this entire affair. He initiates the war that kicks this all off. But with that having been said, chapter 11 takes us very close, but it's right in the time frame, because we know we're very close. See, within a month, definitely within a year. So I'm going to go over chapter 11 in much more detail than I ever did before. As I've been promising, as we're closer and closer, I'll make things clearer and clearer and clearer. But first, brothers and sisters, the HORRORCUST. The HORRORCUST. How can we forget? Why should we forget? The HORRORCUST. 400 years of horror. 400 years of horror. The HORRORCUST. And brothers and sisters, make no mistake, it was horrific. It wasn't just slavery. Slavery was the economic part, the capitalism part. Slavery is when they work you without paying you, without compensating you. That's slavery. See? Look up the definition of slavery. Horror is not part of it. Rape, murder, starvation, none of that stuff is associated with slavery. They call it slavery in an attempt to whitewash what they have done. That's why they call it critical race theory. See, because they don't want to own up to what they did. So now all of a sudden, the Holocaust is a theory, critical race theory. It's nothing theoretical about what they did to us. It was horrific. 400 years of it. 400 years of total horror. From sunup to sundown. 24/7. 365. 400 years. Horrific. It's unimaginable. How can we forget? But they're making a very great attempt to get you to forget by removing the history, whitewashing the history. See? And taking, honoring the cause of this, the participants in this Holocaust, like Jefferson and Washington. They were active participants. They were rapists, murderers, oppressors. Oh, they wrote this beautiful document. So they participated in this beautiful document. They are founding fathers, so we got to give them a pass. Oh, really? Ask me to give them a pass. See, it's like someone goes out and rapes somebody, you see, and they ask that person's brother, should they give him a pass? Why don't they ask the person he raped? See, these people are sick beyond belief. Totally wicked. There's no redemption. And you got people like Farrakhan, oh, they're not going to redeem him, because he's one of them. He's a demon. We must not forget. We will not forget. As long as I'm breathing, you will never forget. And Master Prophet Muhammad is going to make sure everybody knows universally, because it says their necklace, their skirt is going to be lifted up above their head, and necklace is going to be shown to all the world. That means the things I've been telling you you're doing, that's nothing compared when the real facts are known, when it comes out clearly in HD, Technicolor, in great detail. It says all that's going to be exposed. Their skirt's going to be pulled above their head, and their nakedness is going to be exposed for all the world. And you're seeing us part of it now, because I'm initiating that affair. I'm telling you what really happened, because they've been telling you for years, oh, it's slavery. Did you ever look up slavery? You look up the definition of slavery? Did anyone ever do that? See, because they turn you into Negro butts. It took 64 years to do it. You don't ask questions. No, I said, no, that's not part of your programming to ask questions. Your program is just to do what you're told to do and self-destruct whenever the master says so. That's your programming, period. That's your programming. See, your program is self-destruct. That's what it said about the Mark and Mark about the demons, right? He was self-destructive. He was beating himself up. He was self-destructive, right? He was plagued. He was encompassed by demons. He had demons all over him. Legion, Louis Eugene Grounds, NOI backwards, that's Farrakhan. He says the chief demon says now they're trying to soften it up. Oh, demons is a personal defect. It's not real people that Jesus was talking to, and they beg not to lead a country. When you know a personal defect, it's begging anyone to do anything. It's a massive effort, but it's failing. They get more desperate and desperate to keep you from knowing the real truth. See, they keep you from knowing anything. They control your programming. They program you 400 years ago to not ask questions, to obey master no matter what. See? Negro butts. They got terror butts. That's the demons that make sure you keep terror amongst us. Enforce that terror. See? Amongst ourselves. So-called black and black crime. That's the terror butts doing that. That's the demons. Because they're in our community. Half of the black people in America are demons. Terror butts. They keep confusion, murder, rape, all that stuff to do within our communities. See? Because that's what happened. The devils moved us away from it. Once we were no longer on the plantation, no longer needed us, so they freed us. No longer needed us and moved away from us. But they left the demons, their children behind, to keep us in terror. Terror of them and terror of each other. So not only a terror of them, but we're also in terror of each other now because they're terror butts. Farrakhan, T.J. Jakes, all these people, they're ripping you off, these so-called gangs, Crips, Vice Lords. They're not us. That's them. Keep confusion and terror going on in the black community. So now we hate each other. But it's not us we hate. It's them we hate. But they look like us, so we hate ourselves. It's a diabolical. This whole scheme is diabolical to the, like I say, you have no comprehension of the depths of Satan. This whole system is totally diabolical. If I wasn't telling you about it, you wouldn't know. It's more deeper than you can ever imagine. These demons run around and see, and you try to, you're scared to death of them, but they're your own people. You think they're your own people, so now you hate your own people. Then you end up hating yourself because they ain't our people. They're terror butts. Demons. They keep in our community, keep us in terror. Robbing, stealing, breaking in. Keep us terrorized from within and from without. The devils are terrorizing us from without, and they're terrorizing us from within. The HORRORCUST, worse than you can imagine, but the truth is being unfolded. The revelations, the angel is revealing everything, and now, right, it's about to be totally exposed. Like their skirts can be pulled above their head, and neckness can be exposed all over the world. So every secret they have will be revealed. So every shot from the mountaintops. And that's the process happening now. I'm initiating that process. Hope you understand, brothers and sisters. See, it wasn't slavery. That's part of it. That was the mild part of it. Did that look like slavery? Take a look at this again. Did that look like economics? Or did it look like terror, horror, constant, 400 years. No let up. So stop letting them tell you, call it slavery. Call it what it is. It was a HORRORCUST. See? And now 2020, 16, 19, 2019, that's the 400 years that we'd have to put up with that. Now 2020 will be a plague, the first plague in the process of breaking them down and letting us get out of here. It's a plague that will kill the firstborn and kill the firstborn, which means the elderly, and pass over us. And that's exactly what happened. Came in right on time, 2020. And it's passing over. They tell, oh, you died like flies. And when you go and check, you check the WHO, World Health Organization, go Google it. In the last couple of months, they published a paper saying it was not affecting Black Africa, it wasn't affecting Haiti, it wasn't affecting any countries where the black folks controlled or lived. But yet still, we was dropping like flies. That's a lie, because they understood what that meant. They understood what that meant. That means that we're the true seed of Abraham, and God's coming to punish them, but they don't want you to know that. They don't want you to know it. They don't want you to know it. They're scared to death. And so they have only a couple of options. They only got two options. They try to convince you to sell out some reparations. Everybody talking reparations. Reparations, they want to do all these great things for you. Or they just wipe you out. And they're in the process of doing that right now, to wipe you out. I'm not going into detail about that. I'm preparing a special presentation on how and the plan to wipe you out, because it's in the planning stage right now. It just then, before they get a chance to execute it, Master Prophet Muhammad is going into motion. He's going to pull the plug. He's going to short circuit your programming. See? And he's going to short circuit their minds. Hold on, bro. Let's move on. Brothers and sisters. Timeline. Now this refers back to, this timeline is referring back to chapter 11 of the witnesses, because that's a timeline. That's a timeline chapter. See, and it's very detailed, except for one small part. See, that's the part when the war actually starts. Like I said, no one knows that but Master Prophet Muhammad himself. But other than that, it's very detailed. And I'm going into more detail today than I ever did before. Because we're so close. I didn't dare do it years ago. I didn't dare do it months ago. See? But now the die is cast, so to speak. And I don't think anything they can do to prevent it if they even wanted to. See? The abomination of desolation. Who will win the war of Armageddon? The war of Armageddon is this 9 plagues they told my Exodus that's going to force them to finally release us. So you think they don't want us to leave it? They hate us, so why do they want us to keep us here? You say, oh, we can just leave, really? Yeah, we can just leave. Understand? But that's letting them off the hook. And they wouldn't let that, they wouldn't want that to happen wholesale anyway. For reasons you don't understand yet. See? But leave, I mean, where's the severance pay? I don't want your 6 states over here. I don't want your money because it's blood money. So how can you pay me? I'm supposed to just, after rip me up, I'm just going to walk away empty-handed? No, right? You want to walk away? Then get our land back, right? Find, place me back with my people, place me back on my land. I'd be more than willing to go. Like yesterday. But they ain't going to do that. And the people that own our land ain't going to allow that to happen. Because our land is Arabia. And we got squatters on it right now. Okay, let's start here. Here are 2 witnesses. Chapter 11. See? Let me read some of this. Hold on. Now, 2 witnesses. That's chapter 11. Now it says, before all this happens, they were prophesied for 1,260 days, which is equal to 42 months. Which, remember, this book is coded, it's sealed, so you have to break this down and understand what it means. It's about 42 years. And it starts when false Israel come into existence in 1948. See? And so it will last for 48 years. See, they'll be resisting false Israel existence. They wouldn't acknowledge it. 40 years. And that represents, the witnesses represents the Shia, Syria and Iran, right? That's what it says. So from 1948 to 1990, see, that's during those years, right? They would resist, but they were still the main powers in the Middle East. They were still the main powers in the Middle East, okay? Because Middle East represents heaven scripturally, okay? It says, and I will give to the two witnesses of me, and they will prophesy days 1,260 have been thrown about sackcloth. These are two olive trees and lampstands in the sight of the Lord of the earth, having stood. See, Lord of the earth represents false Israel right here. See, and they true olive trees. They're also called sackcloth. There's a reason for those. See, this is the angel keys, just a short version. Right? I'm just showing the part that's relevant for this presentation here. See. So I'm just going to say that much because we're going to do the timeline part of it, right? So the timeline says we started now from 1948 to 1990. That's the 42 years, right? As Iran and Syria, they still on top in the Middle East. They're the main powers in the Middle East, right? And this represents the earth here. America, Britain, Eastern Europe, and Western Europe, right? It represents earth, and this represents like called mid-heaven, but it's part of earth also, right? So I'm not going to, I know the only people that's been studying the angel have understand I'm talking about here. It's not going into great detail. I'm not going to try to explain everything in excruciating detail because I know you won't understand it unless you've been studying the angel. Now, those of you who wish to understand the angel, we have people that's well qualified to bring you up to speed on the angel. That's with Revelations, because we've broken the 7 seals. Show me someone else who have claimed to have broken the 7 seals. Show me their proof, because they haven't. And they have no idea what this is, what we're talking about here. Farrakhan has no idea. His idea of prophecy is watch the weather. See, or telling you what happens after it happens. That's his idea of prophecy. Okay, so we're talking about the 42 years now, right? 1940, 1948. And then, in 1990, right? 1990, that's when they started fighting in the Middle East. That's when Europeans start making their move on the Middle East. 1990, so-called, what was that, Gulf War? So 1990 actually, because they said, well, they set the whole thing up. I'm not going into detail about that, but look up April Glaspie. She was the ambassador to Iraq at the time. And she's got a gag order on her right now because she can't speak to what she told Saddam Hussein about him going into Kuwait. Because Saddam Hussein said he had the papers. And the European press, British press acknowledged it, but they kept it quiet over here. Because she told him that America had no concern on that. If you want to do whatever you want, if that's between you and Kuwait. And then when he went to Kuwait, then, oh man, he's attacking other countries, same crap talking about Ukraine. But they told him, they gave him the green light. And then when he did it, and that's another story altogether, brother, talks about another story. Tripwires and stuff. All this stuff they planned, that's when Iraq and Kuwait was a tripwire. But I'm not going to go into details about that, brother and sister. I want to stay focused. Because there's a lot of stuff, brother and sister. When you wake up, and you're going to wake up in a minute, you're going to find out that 150% of everything you was told up until now has been a total lie. A total lie. Total. They have not told you the truth about anything. They control the media, everything. And they control what you hear because they know your brain, and all our brains are just logic machines. They calculate logic on base of logic. And what happens is, it depends on the information given in. They have a term that says garbage in, garbage out. So if you put bad information in, you're going to get bad decisions out. And so you can control a person's decisions by the information you allow to go into their computer into their mind, in their brains, in their thought process. See, if you control the information that's going to the thought process, you can determine what the actions, the decision is going to be. That's what they've been doing. They've been controlled it ever since you've been over here. See? So they know exactly how you're going to react, what you're going to think, what you're going to do. And if you start asking questions, then that corrupts that the whole process and messes it up. Because you're not supposed to ask questions. You're probably not supposed to challenge. If you ask questions, that means you're challenging the information they're giving you. It means you're challenging it. And that means you start challenging it. That means you start, error, what's going on? Something wrong with that? What's wrong with that Negro butt? Then you got to get one of the terror butts, one of the black-faced children to go in and check you out. See, you see what you need. You need rebooting, right? You need a program fix, right? What do you need? And if they can't find anything, they can get you back online, right? Dismantle you, deactivate you. So anyway, and it says, once it says they would move into the Middle East. So they moved into the Middle East, and they had control of the Middle East. They had the power of the Middle East, and that would last 24 years, from 1991 to 2015. See, that's what it's talking about, because it says it'll be 3 days and a half. Where do you get 3 days and a half from? See, 3 days and a half means half of what? So you just assume it means half of a day. 3 days, a half of 42. Remember, 42 is how long, right? The 42 years. Half of that is 21, plus 3 is 24. That's 24 years that would last. That they would be pushed down, right? They'd be displaced by America, false Israel, and Britain. They'd be the powerhouses in the Middle East for that 24 years. 1991 to 2015. About Iran and Syria right there, okay? And then it says, and I was given to me well, let me back up here because I'll make sure I read everything here. I don't know if I did that. It says, and whenever they should finish the witness of them, the wild beast that's stepping up out of the abyss will make war with them. See, talking about America and Britain and false Israel. They call them the wild beast. See, wild beast, because they're wild beasts. Chapter 19 said the wild beast was captured, and the false prophet, the false Israel, and thrown into the, the wild beast stepping up out of the abyss will make war with them. Remember, step up out of the abyss. Who? Because they were in the abyss. That's 1,000-year dark ages. That's chapter 20, but read again. That's European history. That's 1,000 years they was locked up in dark ages, and they was kept locked up by Abraham's resurrected Islamic empire. Because that's what problem happened. He didn't create Islam. He didn't start it. He didn't create Mecca. He didn't create the pilgrim. He just resurrected, because it was Abraham that built all that stuff. They won't tell you that's another secret, because they associate Abraham with the Middle East, with Mecca and Medina, then have to associate with Islam, and that means they can't condemn Islam, because that's Abraham walked with God. He's perfect in God's eyes. So how could Muslim Islam be wrong? See? So they don't even talk about that. See? Ask them about that. Ask who built Mecca. Ask who built the pilgrimage. Ask who did that stuff. See? The Bible even tells you Abraham did it, but they won't talk about it because they don't want you're not supposed to ask questions. You start asking questions, like I said, they're going to send a terror button there to check you out. If they can't get you back online, they're going to deactivate you. See? They don't want you to ask questions. Not supposed to do that. See? Tell them to prove it. Ask questions. They say, oh man, ask questions one thing. They ask them to prove what they're saying, that's a thing altogether different. Because they can't prove any of it. And you start ask for proof, they know they got this deactivate you right away. Because you that might spread. All other Negro busters might start asking questions. So if you run asking questions, they got to dismantle you, they got to deactivate you right away. You talking about prove it? That's two words you cannot use. Prove it. Those two words, you is not in your programming. That's a clear indication that something's wrong with your programming. You start talking about prove it. I bet you have never used those words in your life. Prove it. I bet you never used those words in your life. Prove it. Prove to me that Jesus was on the cross. Prove me just about Christianity stuff. Prove me he was raised up from the dead. Prove. Prove it. Prove me. You going after you die, you going back to heaven and all this stuff. Prove it. Because what did Paul say? He says, prove all things. But you ain't gonna prove anything. Because outside your program, you think about that. You ain't asked to prove anything. All that stuff you believe, you can't prove any of it. And you're not asking to prove it. See? But when it comes to anything outside the sphere of them, their control, right? Now you want to know all about it. See, you got questions about Islam. I got questions that stuff, but you ain't questioning the stuff your enemy put on you. Your open enemy. You ain't questioning none of this shit that he done put on you. He done wrap you up like a hot dog, and consuming you with mustard. Man, this Negro but tastes good. Let me give me another one. And you just laying there like a dead puppy dog. Yeah. Want another bite? See? There's nothing wrong with any of that. The people that put you through horror for 40 years, they ask them any question about anything. You accept everything they give you. You accept their religion. You believe those people, people know God? Is that the way God rolls? It said know him by their works. Is that the way God rolls? Or is that the way devil rolls? Is that the way Satan rolls? Satan know him by their works. It said Satan could appear as an angel of light. But he's still the devil. But is that the way God rolls right there? Are you going to put that on God? You going to put that on righteous God? You want to say righteous God is the one that told him to steal his country and eradicate all his inhabitants, genocide, and then bring up and destroy us and put us through 4 years of horror? And you're going to tell me those are God's people? Is that what you're trying to tell me? That those people know God? Because if they are, then what problem you got with the people that love Satan, the Satanists? What kind of problem you got with them? If that's where God rolls, and they're people of God, that's their works, that's their deeds. So with the judgment, I mean, if these people escape judgment in hell, what in the hell are they going to do with you? Or all because they just believe in Jesus? That belief in Jesus? That's how Jesus rolls? Is that how Jesus rolled? That's the works of God. Oh, some of them. See, you keep finding ways. See, your programmed brain trying to keep ways to get around what they did. Oh, some of them. Well, if this is supposed to be a democracy, right? Ain't they responsible for it? If you're democracy, that means you're responsible for what your government does. So your hands are just dirty as the government is. You voted for them. Plus, what their law says, if you receive anything, goods or anything, material from anyone that you knowingly know it was gotten illegally, gotten by crime or whatever, right? That you are just guilty as that person is. So don't they haven't get up this country. They know how it was gotten, so they ain't packed their bags, went back to Europe. They enjoying the fruits of this tree, this horror tree. This tree that was nourished and cultivated in terror and horror. And you want to tell me that's where God rolls? What God is that? Oh. What did Jesus say? Who's the God of this world? Satan. That means he's control it all. He's the God. What means he control it, all of it. You said, well, no, not everybody except America. America's guilty of all of this. Everybody's against except America. Okay, but what was that little conversation that they had in the desert when Satan rolled up on Jesus? Hey, Jesus, guess what? See, I got all the nations in the world. All the nations in the world. I just don't have America. Is that what he said? Or did he roll up on him and says, hey, man, I got them all. I got all the nations. Every one of them. See, now, hey, You bow down to me and I'll hook you up. Bow down to me, I'll hook you up. I got them all. But you don't want to hear this because you're a Negro butt. You've been programmed, especially not to listen to me. Got them all. They're all worshiping. Sunniism, all of them. Got them all. Only ones he couldn't get was Elijah and Joshua or Jesus. The only ones he couldn't get. Everybody else, right? He got Farrakhan, got them all. Only one he couldn't get was Elijah and Joshua or Suleiman. That's the only ones he couldn't get. He had everybody else. Because he rolled up on Jesus. He said, get that F out of my face. So he told him, get up out of here. That BS. See, it's all mine anyway. And I'm going to take it back. So roll up out of here. See? That's what the Bible tells you. That's how you want it. See? You want some street talk? You want to break it down easy? What say less? You're going to wake up in a minute, brothers and sisters. Your prayer program is going to be short. Going to be short circuit in a minute. And then you wake up a big headache because you can realize that everything you knew is a lie. Everything you've been told is a lie. So anyway, so it says America and Britain and falls in, they would be controlled for 24 years. The Middle East, because they pushed down. But according to it says they weren't allowed to be buried. See, remember, this represents the earth. America, Britain, and falls, and East and West Europe, they represent the earth. Because that's why I say four corners of the earth, right? So that's what it means they weren't allowed to be buried, because they wasn't under the earth. They weren't yet under the earth. So we're going to see about that in a minute. So it'd be 24 years. That'd be from 1991 to 2015. Now what happened in 2015? See? Okay, let's move on. Then it says, and remember, this is not in Chronicles. You have to quote a book. It says, "Well, give me a rod like the staff, say, rise up and measure your divine habitation of the garden altar and worship in it. And the courtyard, the outside of the divine habitation, throw you outside, and is not you should measure, because it's given to the nation. They and the holy city they will trample on months 42. Now we know who the holy city is, that they will attack. In chapter 20, where it says, once they control the whole earth, remember after Gog and Magog came out of the dark ages, after 1,000 years, that was 500 years ago, they would cover the whole earth. They didn't know it was the whole earth. See? And at the end, and then they would circle the holy city, right? See, now we know who that is, right? And they were circling, right? And that means they'd be in the Middle East, and they would bring fire to heaven inside of men. That means the skies over in the Middle East are dark with drones, American, British, and NATO drones. And they're shooting fire hell missiles out on the heads of the people. 24/7, that's what it says. Going to fire out of heaven in sights of men. Now, if heaven someplace is another dimension, or some other plane, or beyond the sun, moon, and stars, or another galaxy somewhere, then how are men going to see fire coming from there? See? So anyway, it says, so they'll be on the foot of the nations. So see, now they're under the bottom. That's what it means, on the foot of the nations. Now, I'm not going into detail about foot and feet. I mean, like I said, I'm not going to go into all that kind of detail here. So like I said, this is mostly for the people that's already familiar with this, and for those who are willing to learn about it, right, to get you interested. So now you can talk to people that can teach you, bring you up to speed on how the angel works, how to explain all this stuff. So now they're under the bottom. That's the JCPOA that was initiated by Obama. See? So they'd be under there. It means they're under control of the nation, because the nation represents the UN. They was under control of the UN, right, for 3.5 years. That'd be from 2015 to 2018 and 6 months. See? Said they'd be 42 months, was 3.5 years. And that's what happened. They'd be under 2018 and 6 months, right? So that's around June, approximately around June of 2015. I mean, no, excuse me. It'd be 2018 around June, May, around that part area, right? June is 6 months, right? So that's how long that will last. They'd be in that position. See, because that's what it says. It says 42 months. That's 42 years there. Then, right, and that would go 42 months. It will only go 42 months. So at 42 months, 2018, right, and May, June, that period, it was terminated. Trump terminated it. He terminated JCPOA because they would only be under the nation 42 months. Remember, each one of these positions, that's how long they're in that position. How long they're in that position. They was in position, first position for 42 years. The next position, they was in there for 24 months, or 24 years. The next position, right, they was in there for 3.5 years. So, 42 years, 24 years, 3.5 years. That's how long those three positions, right? Then it says, after 3.5 days, the spirit of life of the God entered them. Now let me back up here so you can make sure you understand this. See, I'm not going to go into that, but see, we see demon here. This represents the Christian blacks that have been saved slave masters' children. See, but they're also called spirits. See, because there were 7 spirits of the God, but 3 of them was corrupted. See, 3 of them was corrupted as demons. So that's why it says half of the blacks in America, right, are demons, because half of them was corrupted because by masters raping our women and everything, then that was his seed. He mixed his chaff in with the wheat. See, but they're also called spirits. That's what it means. So I just left demon here. I could have made a spirit, but that's what it says. It says spirit of life came into them. So I want you to understand that. That's what's going. It says after 3 days, after 3 days and a half, spirit of life of the God entered them. See, and so it was Satan. This the God here, Satan, the God of this world. That's the spirit that relates to him, under him. So that means they're moving up now. So that's that's the position they're in right now. They move, but in this case, it wasn't how long they was there. How long it took them to get there. Think about that. It's not saying how long they was there. It's how long it took them to get there. That means their motion. That's when. That's when. You understand? Because their motion. That's when. In other positions, they was how long they was there. In this case, it says how long it took them to get there. See? So they're in that position now. See? And so in this position here, right, they're covering, let me back up here again. Brothers and sisters, I'm trying to stay above board here because these stuff, I'm going in more detail than I ever did before. Because you can get very, very into this, right? Now see, here was Russia. This is East and Western Europe, right? East and Western Europe. Okay. So notice they're covenant. So now they're in negotiations on the GCPOA. Who they negotiating with? They negotiated with East and Western Europe, Russia and European and Germany and North. But they're not negotiating with America. They don't want. America's out of the room. They don't want to. See, that's what it's saying. See, there's the wind blowing. This wind is blowing. Who's it blowing on? It's blowing on America, false Israel, and Britain, right? But they're negotiating, because remember it's moving up, it's blowing on them. But they're negotiating with Europe and Russia, and they won't negotiate with America, because America's corrupt. They don't want to, see what I'm saying? They're not negotiating with America directly. So that's said, wind is blowing. See? So it's blowing from 2018, halfway, that's like May, June, until now. That's where we are right now. We are right now. See? And then, what happened there? Okay. Let me back up. I think something went wrong here. Yeah, something went wrong. Hold on, bro. Let me check this. I think okay. Oh, no, that was right. That was right. No. What happened here? Here? Yeah. True life came in and out. Yeah. Right? So why did that happen? Okay, I was right, so something's wrong. Okay, brothers and sisters, let me. Okay, well, a technical area here, so, but it's okay. So here's, that's what we was talking about just now, right? Oh, I understand. I know what happened. I know what happened. Okay. So, and then we got this thing. It says, and we got to pay close attention to this. It says, the silence. And whenever he opened the seal the seventh, occurs silence in heaven as half an hour. That means for half an hour, there's silence. That's 6 months. But 6 months, there's some silence. Where's that silence all about? Where does the silence come from, right? Okay. Let's go over here. It says, and when he opened up the fifth seal, I saw underneath the altar the souls having been slaughtered through the word of the God, through the witness they were having, and they cried out great, saying, until when the Master, the holy, true, not you are judging, and you are avenging the blood of us, I inhabit upon the earth. Remember, earth represents European countries, right? And I was given them each white robe, and was told them order they would rest up little, until should be filled. Also the fellow slays them, and the brothers them, the being about to be killed, as also they were. So they're talking about Iran and Syria here. See, because now during this period they're saying, what you waiting for? When you gonna take advantage of these people? What else that's been doing to us, right? And it told them, well, it says they were each given white robes. Now, if you understand angel, the European countries, they're white. See, each country, the Oriental countries, they was yellow. The Asian country was brown, right? See, okay. So here, right, the European countries are white. So, and so they was given white robes. That means each one of them had a white robe. That means they were in the position they are right now. See, because remember also this one was covered in the spirit. That's what it's talking about. So they're telling you they're in this position right here. Each one had a white robe. Because this was, remember, America, Britain, they were represented white. So now they on top of East and Western Europe, right? That's saying they're white robe. Because that's how they would have a white robe, because they're covered by them. Okay? And so they was wait, right? Okay, but we're going to see something in a minute, right? And it says, okay, now, the thing is, before, we said, well, you got to wait. He said, it's telling this one, you got to wait until this one goes through what you went through. What does that mean? That means they attacked Iran for about 8 years. They attacked Iran for about 8 years. There was a war with Iraq and Iran, with Saddam Hussein, right? It was backed by America and Britain and fought Israel. And they were using chemical weapons, everything. That went on for about 8 years to a stalemate. And then they went after Syria. So they're telling Syria, right, you got to wait until you suffer the same thing your brother suffered. And then I'm going to action. That's what's talking about there. So let's see. Remember, we connect this with the silence. So let's find what the silence is, right? See? And remember, 6 months. So that would take you from 2022, where we are right now, right, to 6 months to approximately May, June. See, because it says, let me back up and make sure we get this right now. Oh, wait a minute, did I miss it? No, wait a minute. It says, occurs silence in heaven as half an hour. That means about half an hour. So it means it could be actually 6 months, it could be 7 months, it could be 8 months. I mean, it could be 5 months or 6 months. If it's approximately, that's no way of saying approximately. It can be 5 months or 7 months, or it could be actually 6 months. But it probably is either 5 or 7 because it says about. But then it could be 5.5. I mean 6.5. So I don't know. That's what Master Farad Muhammad's called. But anyway, we're going to see what that means in a minute. Now, what is this silence? What are you talking about silence? See, now, remember what I just showed you right now. Hold on, let's back up again. Remember, this is the fifth seal. And this is talking about right here, right? Sixth seal, the fifth seal I was just talking about, right? Now, if you go and watch the seals, the first seal, when you open up the first seal, I heard. See, I heard one out of, that's the first seal. And you see in yellow here? Then you open the second seal, I heard. Here's something, right? Even the third seal, I heard. You heard something. Here's the fourth seal, I heard something. But when you get the fifth seal, you don't hear nothing. You hear nothing when you get to the fifth seal. That's the silence. And what the fifth seal represents, what I just told you, that the conflict between Iran and Syria with European countries, they're at war with Syria right now. The conflict with Syria right now. See, so it said to be a 6-month period, right? A silence after. See, I call it calm before the storm. So from 2022, it'll be 6 months silence, calm before the storm. We're talking about the unsealed Bible. I'm not talking about the seal. Seal has a different take on that. But unsealed Bible, 6 months. Silence. That was talking about that period. Fifth seal, between the fourth seal and the fifth seal, the fifth seal and the sixth seal. See, because the silence is during the fifth seal. There wasn't silence on the fourth seal. There wasn't silence on the third seal. It wasn't on the second or the first. It was on the fifth. So the silence during that period of time where they was told to wait. See? Getting white robes where you see them right now. Those brothers, I hope you brothers and sisters been studying. I hope you understand this, because you got to tell our people, try to put it in a simpler way, maybe make it more simpler than I can. But this about the reason I'm saying it now, because it's relevant. Because what I'm talking about right now is about to jump off. And I'm not like Farrakhan. I'll tell you after the fact. I'm telling you before. So that's what I say. I heard. Remember the sealed book. You have to break the seals to understand this. So that means between the fifth and the sixth, right? See, there'll be silence. And then the sixth. Now how does sixth start off? That's the war. And when you open up the sixth seal, a shaking great occurred. And that's not an earthquake. That's a war. See, you got different translations say earthquake, because they think shaking, that must mean earthquake. No, that's war. And some became black, sackcloth hair, and the moon hole became as blood, and started heaven fell on the earth as a fig tree destroying the unripe figs of it, as wind being shaken. So in other words, you got this fig tree, and it's got figs, and the figs, before they ripe, they're thrown. It's very important, because in other words, something was about to happen, but this preempted it. It happened before that plan. See, that the fig trees represent a plan. Before they could take it into effect, the wind blew and caused them, the figs, to do before they was ready. See? And so we're going to see that in a minute. So in other words, there's silence between the fifth and sixth. So the seals of war is about to take place. See? So here to calm for a storm again. See? So that means that the war, it should be taking place June, May, June, July, somewhere during that period of time. That's my calculation, right? See? What's going on here now? Okay. And then the storm. Occurred war in heaven. That's chapter 12. The storm. See, occurred war in heaven. Michael's angels of him and war with the dragon angels warred against the angels of it. In other words, Michael's angels go to war with the dragon's angels. Who is Michael? Michael's Farad, because he's the one that's going to deliver us. And Michael is the one that's going to deliver us in Daniel. So if he's not Farad, that means we got two deliverers. What, that Farrakhan's Michael now? He's everybody else. Maybe he's my toenail. My toenail gets itching every now and then. Maybe he's that too. He's everything. He's everything for everybody. But what a clown. Anyway, so it says the war occurred in heaven. So Michael's angels, that's Michael, his angels, who's the angel? Iran seals, they like him. See, the original, right, on their paternal side, right, but they're Caucasian on their maternal side. In other words, they're original on their father's side because they're from the sperm, but on their mother's side, so they like him. That's why they call him their 12th imam. They don't know it yet, but that's who it is. So they're like him, and they're his angels. Now, who's dragon's angel? Dragon is, I'm not going to, I got presentation explaining who the dragon, and bring all that down, showing the angel key, but dragon represents House of Sod. His angels are America, Britain, and false Israel, and they're all clashing, right? And that's what you see right there, near the war, because America, you see Iran and Syria, and the one called Red, I'm not going to tell you who that is. Has something to do with Africa, but I'm not going to go into that here, because that's something I've been holding. That's something I cannot reveal till the war starts, right? Because that's a great betrayal that they don't know about, right? That's deep. I just can't tell you that one before, so hold that against me, fine, right? See, because right now, those that have been paying attention, they know I ain't never went like this on this one, but I've been promising I would. So you see, Iran and Syria, they're covering what? They're covering America, Britain, and false Israel. That means they're at war with them now. See? Sometime within the next couple of months. See? And the war should last 3 or 4 months. Up to around about October, during that period of time. I'm not sure if I'm going to go into that on your brothers. Anyway, so that's what it's talking about, because that's the 6 months. See? 6 months silence before the wind blows. And what happens? And then it says, war occurred in heaven. After 3.5 days, the Spirit of God came into, they stood up, and then they stood. See, there was 2 acts there. First, the 3 days and a half, Spirit of God came in. That's the wind, right? And then they stood upon their feet. Now they stand upon their feet, right? See? Here they was at war, right? The wind blowing them, right? And now they're on their feet. They was victorious. I said, dragons, angels was thrown out. So now they're victorious. They kicked America and false Israel and Britain out of the Middle East. False Israel's still there. Britain and America's kicked out. See? They're kicked out. Right? And we're saying this should happen, right? They're being kicked out. It'll take about 3 or 4 months. This war should go about 3 or 4 months, somewhere around there. Now, you ain't getting this from any place else. And I ain't asked for a dime. I ain't say, well, man, you send me $1 million right now. No, so I ain't asked for a dime. And all my credibility is on the line right here. I do have a caveat, but I'm not saying that, I'm saying I'm close. I can't be exact, only Master Prophet Muhammad knows that. But I'm close. So I'm not going to say this, and then 5 years from now, no, I'm close. I'm very close. I'm like I said, this happened this year. I know that I'm that close. But the specific hour and day, I don't know that one. Because Master Prophet Muhammad made that move. But we know it's in this period of time. See? And I'm not going to delete this like they do. I don't delete my presentations. I got presentations going. I got somebody told me I had like 1,000 presentations out there, whatever. I'm not deleting them. I've been talking about this for years, but I never went in this detail before with anybody. Not this much detail. See? So now they're kicked out, right? See, and so the war would last for about 4 months and be kicked out. And then, okay, that's what it says right here, right? It says, occurred war in heaven, Michael's angels fought with the dragon's angels, and proved not strong, not place was found them yet in heaven. And was thrown the dragon the great, the serpent the archangel, the being called devil, Satan, the maker of the earth, and have, they cause the whole world to deviate. Was thrown to the earth, and angels with him were thrown. Remember I told you, that represents the earth down there. America, Britain, false Israel, and America, Britain, false Israel doesn't represent the earth. America, Britain, Eastern Europe and Western Europe, with Russia and EU, that represents the earth. Because remember, the earth had 4 corners to it. That's the 4 corners. Right? That's the storm. And then it says, right? And that's Gog and Magog. And the stars of heaven fell into earth as a fig tree destroying the unripe figs of it by the wind being shaken. See, these. Let me backtrack here. See, this is the fig tree. False Israel, also known as the fig tree. This is the fig, American Britain. See, now what it's telling you is that they had a plan. Remember, this is going on right now. They have an active plan to get rid of us. An active plan to get rid of us. Before they could execute that plan, right? That's why it says it was cast before they was right. Because what their plan is. Remember, when they fall, when Babylon falls, everything. Look what they fall on. Here's NOI. That's the Levites, right? That's not the seed of Abraham. Levites, they with us, but it's not the seed of Abraham, right? NOI, and then the demons, right? They're not seed of Abraham either, right? But these were raised by Elijah. Remember, Elijah raised somebody. He raised the Levites, the widow's son, but Suleiman, he raised the original people, Lazarus. So watch what happens here, right? Watch what happens here. Watch closely. See, they fall on. See? But they do it before they was ready to do it. That's what said those fig trees was cast before they was ready. So that's what they was planning on doing, but they was made forced to do it before they was ready to do it. That's what they unripe. See? Because they have an active plan to get rid of us. But this happened before they was able to do that. And then once this happens, this is the wall, this is the plagues that's come on them to keep them from letting us, make them forced to let us go. Because, see, at this point, they attacking us, right? But before they was ready. So now, in this case right here, when you understand the 9 plagues, there are plagues hitting them now, because that's what this war is, Armageddon, and these plagues are hitting them, right, to protect us, so we can get the hell out of here to force them to let us go. Because now America is at war with Britain. You know, America's at war with Russia and the EU. This ain't just Ukraine stuff. They're at war with both of them. You say, well, why are they at war with Western Europe? Because I'm going to divert a little bit here. So I make this very clear. Europe right now, and they tell you this on the news, if you watch any of this stuff, right? Europe right now is dependent on oil from the Middle East and from Russia. So there's the 2 major sources of oil. The only source of oil, as far as I know, right? On the Middle East and in Russia. And so now they're trying to stop Russia trying to stop UE from taking, because they're trying to sanction Russia, right? And they're trying to get them to stop taking oil from Russia. Just get from the Middle East. You see? They're trying to do. And that's a whole story altogether, because they, in an active mode, they're trying to use up all the oil in the Middle East, because they know oil is the base of is Sunni power. Because once the oil goes, the Sunnis have no power in this world. And then that's the way they pretend to eliminate what they call Islam. So they don't want, that's why Americans won't use this oil. It's telling them, pump more oil. And they don't want nobody to use Russian oil. Because they want everybody use up oil in the Middle East. They want to use all the oil in the Middle East, because once they know the oil goes in the Middle East, that's the end of Islam. See, because that's what they were saying in 1990. They said, now we got rid of, when Russia broke up, right? They said, now we just defeated communism, now the next thing we got to do is defeat Islam. This was what they were saying. See, but now they're trying to hide it. That's what they were saying. And so that would be, because only it's not the Quran, it's not prayer rugs, it's not prayer beads, right? It's not Ramadan that's defeating, right? That's powering Islam, for Sunnism. It's that oil. And the oil runs out, they're dead. All they got is sand and stuff. That's why they won't allow them to build any technology. Now, everyone that starts trying to build some kind of technology, like Libya and Iraq, they take them out. The only one that's building any kind of technology right now, because Syria was doing something, they take Syria out. The only one that's doing it right now is the Shia in Iran, and they're industrializing, right? And so that's why they want to take them out, because they want them to have no source of income at all, period, once the oil runs out. And that's the defeat of Islam. That's their plan to get rid of it. But you don't understand that. That's their plan to get rid of it. And some of you shaking your head, yeah, man, they need to get rid of Islam stuff. Well, Islam didn't take you to 4 years of Holocaust, did it? See, that got you thinking backwards. Read Mark. They got you thinking against yourself. Those Arabs who you hate, they're your brothers. They white now, but they used to be black. That's why I call them desert niggers. Because they know they're your brothers. They betrayed us, but they still our brothers. These people like he ain't. So that's what's happening. That's what it says. Because Master Prophet made a move before they was able to take their plan. And once that happens, that's those 9 plagues kick in. See? So what I was saying about the oil. So now Europe, since they was helping America in that war with Iran, and now Iran has total control of the oil in the Middle East, total control, they cut the spigot off of Europe. So Europe's only source of oil now is America, and America already is depleting because they're depleting their reserves right now, a million gallons a day or whatever. And even if they didn't, they still could not furnish oil to Europe in any meaningful way, in any timely way, because they have to ship it by ships. They can't ship by plane. And that would just take too long and too risky, even if they could get it there. And so their whole economy collapsed. That's chapter 18. The whole economy collapses. European, not Russia, just Europe, because Russia got plenty of oil. Their whole economy collapses overnight because they have no oil. They can't get any from the Middle East, and they can't get any from Russia because Russia is fighting against America, and Europe is supposed to be fighting with America. So what they have to do? The only choice they got, they can't get from America, they can't get it from Middle East. Only way to get it from Russia, because they got pipelines coming right now, because they had to cut it off, because Russia cut them off since they fighting with America on them. Is turn the spigot back on to, and they do that. So that means now they gotta fight on Russia's side against America. That's why it says America's gonna be. It says all your lovers gonna abandon you. So they're gonna betray them, and now America's at war with everybody in Europe. Everybody's attacking them. See, and then they got insurrection going here in America. War within, war without. Hope you understand that, brothers and sisters. That's what's happening right there. The fall of Babylon. See? And I saw another angel stepping down out of heaven, having authority great, and earth was light, and out of the glory of him, he cried a strong voice, saying, She fell, Babylon the Great. She fell, Babylon the Great. Why I say fell Babylon the Great? Because they're talking about two people. They're talking about false Israel and America. See? Because false Israel is going to be right there where America is in a minute. See? So it says they fell. It said it became a dwelling place of demons. Remember? Under America, right, that's a demon in there. And prison of every spirit, remember? Every unclean spirit, that's a demon, right? And hateful bird. Remember, false Israel was a bird. Brothers and sisters, this is beautiful stuff when you study it. You want to get your mind back, use your mind back. And then, what about this part? See, you don't ask any questions. When you see Jerusalem surrounded by armies, then recognize its desolation or its destruction is near. When you see Jerusalem surrounded by armies, then recognize its desolation is near. Now, this is talking about sometime this year between October and November. See, because once the war is finished, right, then false Israel goes under siege and it's taken down. See, that's called abomination of desolation. Okay, but who is Jerusalem the capital of? Question. You asking a question. You ain't supposed to be asking that Negro boy asking the question. Go over there, Terry Button, see what's going on with it. He ain't supposed to be asking no question like that. Who is this? Who is the capital? Jerusalem's capital of what? Who controls Jerusalem? False Israel does. See? Or you have to ask that one question, and you're right there. 9% of the veils roll off your eye, because now you know these people have been lying to you. Because it says, when you see Jerusalem surrounded by armies, they see right now. See? You're about to see that. When you see Jerusalem surrounded by armies, you know its desolation has come near. It means destruction. But remember, if they're true seed of Abraham, they can't be destroyed once they return. But it says they're going to be destroyed. They're going to be destroyed. That means they're not the true thing. They're not the real McCoy. They're not real. They like angel says, it says they're the synagogue of Satan. Those who say they're Jews are not, but they're the synagogue of Satan. That's clear enough, ain't it, brothers and sisters? The Arabs don't control Jerusalem. This is not the capital of Arabia. Brothers and sisters. See? There you go. Now that's it. And it says, Pray that your flight will not take place in the winter or Sabbath, for then there will be great distress, unequal from the beginning of the world until now, never be equal again. I'm not going to detail about that, brothers and sisters. I can't go into more detail about that, but anyway, it still relies on Master from how to make this move. See? But it's talking about sometime, right? Sometime this fall. That part. See? So the wars, we're saying this wars, based on my calculation, we're talking about the wars should be starting within the next couple of months. It's going to last for 3 or 4 months, right? See? Then far as Israel, they don't kicked out. Far as Israel is isolated, under siege, and then it's taken down. See? There it is. When you see Jerusalem surrounded by armies. Okay, brothers and sisters. I think I'm going to leave it there. If you have any questions, contact. We have contact information. Contact our people. And they can bring you up to speed on angel key. Understand the angel, because that's when you understand this stuff. You have to understand the angel. You have to have broken the seals. So if these clowns are claiming they this and that, tell them break down for you. Tell them, show them evidence they broken the seals. Because only one person can break the seals. So if you show me someone else that broke it, that means one of us, both of us are lying, because only one person can do it. So if someone else has done it, there's something wrong. Either both of us are lying, right? If they can show you proof that they actually did it, that means both of us messed up, because only one person can do it. So I just want to show you the timeline. And the reason I'm doing it is obvious, because I'm saying this war's going to start any day now. And I walk you through that timeline, and we saw a timeline, right? It's been accurate, right, up until now. See? So the next step is the war. But it's been totally accurate from 1948 to now. That's the timeline. See? So I've been holding this. So now we're within a couple, I said any day now, within a few days away. So if I don't tell you now, right? Then I'll be like Farrakhan telling you after the fact. Now let Farrakhan do better. Because he's telling you this thing with Ukraine, he's talking the same old stuff other people on the news talking about. Well, it's going to spread. It's going to spread. And that's bullshit. It's not going to spread. And then they're going to come and crucify me. Because he's so special and crucify him. They don't want you, Farrakhan. They don't want to have you up there, have to empty your piss and shit bag that you pissing and shitting in. But I don't want to do that. Well, I'm going up yonder. So I have to crucify. He's going up yonder. You might be going up yonder already, right? With a big explosive can put in your ass that's going to blow you up yonder. That's the only way you're going up yonder. The only way you're going up yonder. Yonder. Where the hell is yonder? That dude is such a clown. He's such a fool. He put on a whole big clown act for 5 hours. Tied to his chair. Pissing and shitting in a bag. He's pathetic. See? I mean, he's going up yonder. See? And the world going to spread. And they're going to crucify him. Fool, ain't you know you already been crucified? Ask any man out there. There was a choice between disembowelment, getting your balls cut off, pissing and shitting in the bag, or being nailed to a cross. Ask them which one would they choose. Ask them which one would they choose. I guarantee you, bring on the nails. Bring them on. Bring on the cross. What a damn dumbass. He gonna crucify. You already crucified. It tells you Malachi you was cursed because you're robbing this whole nation. Who's robbing the nation? It says, well, man robbed God. It says you had robbed this whole nation. Elijah Muhammad didn't rob him. Master Muhammad didn't rob him. You the one been robbing, being rich off him. You ain't done anything. Where's the economic program that you've been talking about for some years? I don't see any economics. All I see is you walking around with your prelude dresses and your designer glasses and your stretch bins or whatever they call it, going all over the place off these sisters that you got pimping out, have doing fundraisers. Elijah Muhammad never knew such thing. Have doing fundraisers so you can gallop about all over the planet, shitting and pissing in the bag. If they pull up that skirt over your head, ooh, it'd be foul without imagination. Because you're foul and you're a liar. You're a thief. I was there with Elijah Muhammad for 70 75. I know you're a liar and a thief. Because all the stuff you said happened did not happen like that. You turned on the messenger, you called them names, you badmouthed them, and you tore down the Nation of Islam with Wallace. You both did it together. See, don't tell me FBI did it. And when the FBI came knocking, you did everything they told you they wanted it done. You got rid of, don't call devils anymore. They said that's what they wanted. No more race hatred, no more separation, no more building a nation. So you ain't building no economic program. No separation. We ain't going nowhere now. When that's the whole reason why Master Prophet came here, to tell you that we're going home. Once we have a thorough knowledge of ourselves, we're going back to the best planet Earth. They repaired ourselves. It says right in the lessons. It says, why is the devil on the worst part of planet Earth? See? And it said, we prepared the best part of planet Earth for ourselves. So you prepare, that means you plan on come back and take it. Where's the best part of planet Earth? Arabia. So, but you said we ain't going nowhere. That ain't what the lessons say. That ain't what the Master Prophet Muhammad says. He said he came to get us. That ain't what Elijah Muhammad taught. He says we'd be fools to stay here in the land of our imprisonment. So how in the hell you know better than both of them? We ain't going nowhere. But that's your legion. And Mark, please don't make me lead the country. Please, Jesus, don't make me lead the country. I want to stay with my swine daddies. Brothers and sisters, you're going to wake up in a minute. And, you know, all you time makers out there, all you people blocking this, come out, you Elijah, you down with Elijah, you're liars. Because if you was, you would be with this. Because black man is outdated. You didn't see COVID coming. That was 1619 and 2019. That was an easy call. 2020 would be a plague that would kill the firstborn, the elderly. But you didn't see any of that. You ran to the brick walls 2,021 miles per hour, right? 20 miles per hour like everybody else. Crashed. You didn't see none of that. Because those books, the book now is the Angel, Revelations, and Daniel. Those are the books right now. Those books, you have no idea what's going on. And what I just told you about the things happening right now, you have no idea. You didn't see none of that. And you're going to see it in a minute. You didn't see none of this stuff happen. All stuff is going on right now. I've been talking about it for years. All you got to do is go out there on YouTube and look at my presentations. All is out there. All I've been talking about for years. The stuff you see happening right now, I've been talking about for years. You ain't been talking about it. You ain't see none of this coming. You ain't see COVID coming. You ain't see none of this coming. None of it. And you don't see what's going on right now because you're blind. And you're trying to rip off our people, trying to make merchandise out of them. See, you want to be the big man, but you don't want to go through the big problem. You don't want to go to suffer the big consequences of being the big man. See? You think you got to start out. I don't be like Elijah. I'm having a big following one day. See, and they're going to take care of me. Like that old rotten dog, what was his name? What was that? I can't think. What's that? Not Silas. The other one. Anyway, he's dead now, right? Died a terrible death, ripping off people. I didn't know. Somebody told me some things he was doing, and I says, he was doing that? See? That wasn't Elijah Muhammad's program, ripping off people, having a cult. I can think of... I can't think of the name offhand, right? But all these, Farrakhan is a terrible end. He's already been chastised, ripping off the nation. That was the chastisement. He said, it was curse. Curse was a curse. And this bomb is a curse. I mean, what can be worse curse for man than that? And you still can't see him because he's a demon. Google his bio. Google his bio if you dare. It says his father's name is Percival Clark. And father's the devil. So how in the hell he's going to be your Messiah? Because he can't, talking about one drop of black blood make you black. Really, it might make you original. Sure don't make you my Messiah. Okay. So, brothers and sisters, so I'm leave it there. But like these people, like all these preachers out here, when this war breaks out, it's going to be, and when false Israel goes down, do you have any idea what's going to happen to you? All these people, they're going to wake up, they're going to see you for what you really are, and there's no place in this universe that's going to save your ass. I don't care if you get a rocket ship going 1 trillion miles a second, getting out of here ain't going to be fast enough. Because when they tell you, they're going to make popsicles out of you. See? On every street corner, have you make a popsicle. That's you, and all these people come up, you Elijah, but you ain't backing this message? Ripping off our people trying to get money out of them and everything else? See, like I said, you're going to wish you was never born. All you demons, we know, you going down with Master. Y'all going to have a final conflict here. See? Y'all, so you ain't going anywhere with us. See? So y'all going to show down amongst yourselves. But the rest of you out there, you're going to wish you was never born. The tribulation going to be too good for you. But you've been warned. See? Because it tells you the credentials. The messenger of the covenant, it's right in Malachi. Got Elijah, messenger of the covenant finally suddenly comes to his temple with full of soap to clean it up. He ain't clean up Elijah's mama's mess, is he? He ain't clean up Farah's mess, is he? So he must clean up whose mess to clean up? Farrakhan's. He'd be the breaker of the seals. The messenger of the covenant. See? You got all the credentials. But you keep talking all your bullshit, so okay, go on. So I'm just letting you know that's why I'm doing this. Because countdown. Okay? So he done right or wrong. But see, we ain't going to find 5 years to find out. We're going to find in a couple of months, ain't we? Maybe a couple of days. The HORRORCUST. Assalamu alaikum.